Well, Nicholas finds a gun back there. A shotgun, to be precise. Oh, the stories about shotguns that I will tell you. So anyway, he finds the shotgun, and he's like, ah, crap, there's something there. And it's supernatural. I gotta take it out. So he goes and uses his magical abilities to enchant the shotgun. And here's the thing about this player. He can come up with some of the best character concepts. Like I said before, he has been able to push me countless times as a GM. Like, this isn't... I think this was the first time, because this is the first time I ran as a GM with him, but he's done it before. He's gotten entire story plots, just like little subplots in my other games. And it's really weird, because he's... And I hate to be blunt about it, but he's probably one of the worst people to ever roll dice. If he went to Las Vegas, like, everybody's a winner compared to him. Like, I'm sorry, dude, but, like, if you're watching this, I'm really sorry, but the dice do not like you. At least not as far as World of Darkness goes. So anyway, he enchants it to do more damage against undead. Well, he botches, and I'm in a good mood. I've got a nice hookah going, because we were running this at a hookah bar. And generally, I don't like players dying on the first game. It really puts a damper on things, in my opinion. So, some people might be okay with that. I'm not. I'm cool with players dying in the second or third game. I try to honestly avoid it, because as a storyteller, I prefer to just tell a story. But at the same time, if you can't put some risk in there, there's no point of the reward. You may as well be gathered around a campfire, and I'll be telling you a story for 24 hours. It's really my opinion, as far as like boss fights go. Or traps. Definitely with the traps. So anyway, so he enchants it, he botches his roll. Under normal circumstances, I should have just like been like, hey, you get 5 paradox, which is pretty much reality being like, hey, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna screw you up, and you don't know when, because it's gonna be at the GM's discretion, and it's gonna happen at the worst possible moment. But instead of doing that, he enchants his gun with the most destructive force in the universe. Balefire. A fire which burns on all possible dimensions. You can shoot a ghost with it, and it'll kill the ghost. Even though the ghost is, technically just an apparition, and is there, it's disgusting. So he enchants these two slugs with balefire. Well, I don't tell him that. So he shoots it at the zombie that's at the other bar across the way. Yeah, so the zombie gets hit, the zombie dies, the zombie's soul gets obliterated. Like, he doesn't even give this guy, like, hey, I commend your soul to the heavens. Like, no, his soul is gone. He never existed at this point. Also, the alcohol catches on fire. That was kind of a bad thing. So him, Maggie, and Fix-It, I think, run the hell out of this club. Just in time to see that, just about every other bum in the city is actually a zombie. All that writing on the wall, somebody's been making a voodoo ritual. I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, it's New Orleans. It happens. I mean, I figure that it happens. It's New Orleans. You got Mardi Gras and the zombie apocalypse. Those are your 2 holidays. So anyway, the group kind of converges and gets back together. And like I said before, there's actually kind of like 2 games at this point, oddly enough, going on simultaneously. You've got the original game which Steven was actually a player character, along with Kevin and Freddie and some Werepanther chick and my little brother who was playing a Ravnos vampire. I forgot about him. Who had this weird ability. He got a crap ton of flaws. Got level 5 in illusion making. Well, here's the thing. Guy doesn't believe he's a vampire. So if he writes stuff down, he's a well-known author. Can't remember his freaking name, but he's a well-known author. So he writes stuff down, and it comes true. But I'll get back to them in a while. You know, they're fighting through the zombie apocalypse and everything. So, the group, having heard about this, this apocalypse bunker, is like, holy shit, it's the apocalypse. Let's freaking go. So, everybody goes running. They go to the local docks because, you know, it's out in the swamps because, you know, that's what you do when you're in New Orleans. That's where you stay safe, is the swamps. Because, you know, alligators, swamp people, whatever. Zombies? Get the hell out of here. Ah, that's good beer. So anyway, essentially, this group, the first group from the first game goes off, and they go to... Essentially, they found a way through their Wraith friend to stop the zombie ritual. So what ends up happening is that they hijack a fan boat. There's a fan boat chase. This is 4 years ago, so I'm really kind of giving you guys the cliff notes. Also, I remember the other game a lot better because I wasn't like really drunk at a person's place that I was playing this in. So yeah, I definitely remember the other game better because I had to GM. So the other group goes, they do this whole ritual. Half the group splits up because they get chased by other fan boats. They got to take them out. And half the group splits up, goes to take out the ritual, while the other group protects the people who are doing the ritual. And you know, it's a big fight that ensues. Really just like a lot of like just keeping people like on their toes, and it took us almost an hour to do. It was like zombies coming everywhere. People who were working for whatever the hell this thing was coming after us. Those people on the fan boats, and eventually, you know, the zombie apocalypse is stopped. And well, you know, they've got to get back to town, so the Ravnos in the group is just like, and then they forgot that there was a red switch underneath the thing, and the detective who was driving the fan boat was like, hey, what's this red switch? Immediately, Steven is like, hey, what's this red switch? He pushes it, fan boat gets nuts. Well, you know, freaking, you've got a fan boat, it's got air, it's right above the water, you've got fire, it kind of, and then he starts writing, and then the fan boat hit something and got propelled into the air, so it kind of goes, yeah, and they pretty much skipped over the whole swamp, and because there was a mage there, everybody survived the crash. Also, because the Ravnos said that everybody survived the crash, everybody survived the crash. But that is... I'll get back to that at some point. Well, actually, I'll get back to that probably next beer. Or after this. After I finish up this part of the game. That's good, Luca. Anyway... So the other group with Fix-It and Maggie and Abel and Joe and Nicholas and Alexi, they are, and Gimpy. God, I forgot about Gimpy. The reason he's called Gimpy is that he has a gimp leg. So he walks around with the sword cane, which is pretty badass. So anyway, so they go, and they find the Apocalypse bunker. And there's, outside, there's a bunch of Zamisi Vosged. Well, not Vosged. I think they're just retainers that have been flesh crafted. Here's the thing about Zamisi. Zamisi is a vampire clan that essentially what they can do is they can be like, hey, I know how to mold your flesh and bone, and then they can turn you into whatever they want. They can turn you into a freaking pipe organ if they want to mold you with a bunch of other people. So they've got like these that's what they're called. They're called Schlachta. SZAL whatever Schlachta. They've got like a bunch of hounds and a couple other guys with guns, and they're all fighting, and it takes a while. It takes about an hour and a half to take out all the Schlachta. And they go to try and get into the Apocalypse bunker, and they can hear Scanny and Fempel yelling from the other side that Alex, Alex Sanders, is a mage. The other two, Thomas and Sean, are demons, which I'll get into that a little bit later. So I'll get into that later. But Alex is kind of crazy. He's like bordering the edge of being a marauder. And a marauder is pretty much a mage that is so insane that he wraps himself up in paradox, and anything that he wishes pretty much comes true because he feeds off paradox. Paradox being pretty much the thing that messes with mages all the time. Well, they hear that, and there's one other Schlachta out back. And it's coming up, and it's got its gun pointed at Abel, I think. Got it right to the head. Just like, dude, say your prayers. And all of a sudden they hear this rumbling, and a freaking, like, a woolly mammoth comes out of nowhere. Freaking woolly mammoth comes out, grabs the Schlachta by the trunk, squeezes him to death, breaks his back, throws him into the swamp. Alligators eat him. Bye-bye, Schlachta. Well, then something grabs the woolly mammoth from underneath the ground and pulls it under, and they can hear the sounds of something eating it. Straight up eating a woolly mammoth, like, I love woolly mammoth wings, Freaking Yeti pops out of the swamp. Freaking Abominable Snowman, Bigfoot, Yeti, whatever the hell you want to call it, pops out of the swamp. It's about 30 feet tall. It's got a strength rating of, I can kill you in one hit if I hit you. Its dex rating really sucks, and it's got like a 2 in dex and nothing in dodge. It's got maybe 7 d10s to roll, which is, I mean, it's good, but compared to these people who knew how to work their characters if there was going to be combat involved, it's not that good. It's also got a ridiculous stamina pool, which, in hindsight, I actually forgot about. So essentially what ends up happening is that Fix-It, who has a minigun, just like whole circle, like a Gatling gun, just grabs it and just starts firing and just unleashing hell on this thing. Abel, who is proficient in like ancient firearms, which are ridiculously powerful if you hit. They naturally have a U-botch on a 1 and a 2. So Abel has actually a higher chance to botch than anyone else in the group. But he also has a higher chance to succeed, so it kind of balances itself out, which is why I allowed it. So anyway, they go through it, And like I said, you know, it took them like an hour and a half to take out the Schlocka. Took them a half hour to take out my goddamn Yeti. The freaking boss